Euzubillahimineşşeytanirracim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Rabbi şrah li sadri ve yessir li emri ve hlul ukdeten min lisani yefkahu kavli. So inshallah, let's start the discussion, although it is not as famous as Dr. S. Inshallah, we will continue with the 11th flash. And we've been studying the Sunnah of the Prophet, the practice of Prophet. We will continue with the 5th point, inshallah, from the 11th flash. But before we do that, again, I need a few keywords to remind us what we've been studying, especially since we have a few newcomers. What we've been studying very shortly, and also somebody please remind me, what do we mean when we say Sunnah of the Prophet, the practice of Prophet? One volunteer to remind us what we've been studying, and then another one remind us what do we mean with the practices of Prophet. And the first volunteer can use both if they want. Who's the volunteer? No one? Zarim, would you like to help us, inshallah? Just to save the dignity of the group.
Assalamu alaikum. So what I remember from our discussions is that we're trying to understand the relevance of the Sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam in our lives, given that we have many different ways to live our lives. And so how do I apply the Prophet's teachings, and why should I apply the prophetic Sunnah to my life? And I'll just, since I mentioned it, I'll just define sort of what we meant by, or what we understood by Sunnah, or like maybe not define, but what we sort of understand from it. So usually when we think of Sunnah, we might think of like the legal terminology, like this is wajib, this is permit, like I don't know the Arabic, but this is like very liked or very disliked. But we were sort of trying to frame it more as like it's everything that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam did, the way he thought. And so it's like more of an all-encompassing term, not just like these legal rulings. And I think from last time, what I kind of noted were some of the takeaways were like thinking about my life as I'm reading the Quran. And so trying to match the ayat of the Quran to my life. And then also when the life of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam is mentioned, or any prophet is mentioned in the Quran, like thinking that it's also supposed to apply to my life. And we were also thinking of, or we were talking about two meanings in an ayat of the Quran, one that may be more explicitly understood and one that has a hidden meaning. So something that is more elusive. And so trying to understand that in my life, and also how it could apply to the Prophet's life as well. So
Jazakallah khairan. And thank you for saving us trying to find another volunteer. We've been also studying the tasks to better understand the idea of the Prophet as well, right? Like when we use the word Prophet, it sounds so familiar to all of us. We know what we mean. It's a person who lived, 14 centuries ago. But here we also been trying to understand what we mean when we say the prophetic tradition, prophetic practice, and so on and so forth, in a more, let's say, a conceptual way. So we will continue doing that, and inshallah with this text we will have a better understanding of what we mean with the Prophet. So this 5th point, I will give you a roadmap of the reading before we read. This 5th point will be about the ayah So it's, oops. Yeah. This is from Surah Ali Imran. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. قل إن كنتم تحبون الله فاتبعوني يحببكم الله. So if you love Allah, then follow me. Allah will love you. Rough translation. Again, this is from Surah Ali Imran. This fifth point will be the tafsir, the interpretation of this ayah. And it will start with, when we start reading the text, it will start with a simple linguistic analysis of the verse, how things are related to each other. This is something Imam Nursi does not do much, at least in these risales, but he will do it here. A very simple linguistic analysis, a logical analysis of the ayah, actually, and then he will tell us how this ayah actually implies that if you don't follow the Prophet, it means you don't love God. That's simple, he will say. And then he will explain why this is so. Okay? He will not give it as just as a rule, like it is true because Quran said so. No, he will explain why Quran says so. Okay, let's start reading, inshallah. Who will read it, since ladies already volunteered? So maybe we need to pick one from gentlemen. How about Mustafa? Atik was volunteering, and we don't like people volunteering. So how about you, Mustafa? Would you like to read it? No? Okay, Atik, go ahead.
We're doing the fifth point.
Yeah, 5th point.
The sublime verse, say, if you do love God, follow me, God will love you. 3:31 proclaims in definite fashion just how necessary and important it is to follow the prophets, upon him be peace and blessings, his practices. Yes, among the syllogisms of logic, this verse is the most powerful and certain of the sort called hypothetical or conditional syllogisms. It is as follows. To exemplify a hypothetical syllogism, it is said in logic, if the sun comes out, it will be daytime. For a positive result, it is said the sun has come out. One may therefore conclude that it is daytime. For a negative result, it is said it is not daytime. One therefore draws the conclusion that the sun has not come out. According to logic, these two conclusions, negative and positive, are definite. In just the same way, the above verse says, if you love God, you will follow God's beloved, upon whom be peace and blessings. If you do not follow him, it points to the conclusion that you do not love God. If a person loves God, it entails following the practices of God's beloved. Peace and blessings be upon him. Yes, the person who believes in Almighty God will certainly obey him. And the most acceptable, the most direct, and the shortest among the ways of obeying him is without doubt the way God's beloved, upon whom be peace and blessings, showed and followed. Yes, it is necessary and self-evident that the all-generous one of beauty, who fills the universe with so many bounties, should want thanks from conscious creatures in return. And clearly, that all-wise one of glory, who adorns the universe with so many miracles of art, will make the most excellent of conscious creatures his addressee and interpreter, and the herald and leader of his servants. And certainly and self-evidently that all beauteous one of perfection, who makes the universe reflect the innumerable manifestations of his beauty and perfections, will give the most perfect worshipful stance to the person who is the most comprehensive, perfect measure and means of displaying his beauty, perfection, names, and art, which he clearly loves and wants to display. He will make his conduct a fine example to others and encourage them to follow him, so that his fine conduct may appear in others too. In short, love of God necessitates and results in following the prophets upon whom be peace. His practices, how fortunate the person who follows them to a large extent, and woe on the person who does not appreciate the practices and adopts innovations.
Okay, Jazakallah khairan. I'm trying to see which part of the text I'm missing. In my version, the last few sentence you said not there, but it doesn't matter. Okay, we will start with like let's start with the initial impressions, quick impressions, like what you see in this text. Go ahead, please. That's the mathematics.
Yeah, so when I read the verse, if you love God, follow me, God will love you. As you mentioned, it sounds like a rule. So is this a rule? Is maybe a question, because when this comes to mind, is this like a test of love? So let's say I am a super this is how it goes with love stories of the ancient. So there's this lady and like the daughter of the king, and then the king says, if you want to marry my daughter, then you have to go through this challenge, then the second challenge, then the third challenge, and the fourth challenge. Prove yourself, then I will let you guys get married. So is this how it is? Like the creator says, if you love me, then here's the challenge for you. Follow the prophet, then in return, I'm going to love you back. Like, is this sort of a challenge in there, or is there different type of relationship is happening in here? Because in such cases, those challenges are unrelated. Like it is somebody loving somebody, and then the challenges are climb the mountain, kill 5 ogres, and then bring me a lion alive or something like this. Like they have nothing to do with the love itself. So in this case, me loving God, God loving me, does it have anything to do with following the prophet, or is it just a very tough practice or tough challenge that the creator says, okay, prove yourself to me?
So I guess we can also phrase the same question as, so in the text says the ayah proclaims in a definite fashion that it is necessary and important to follow the prophet practices. So when he says necessary and important, necessity, so what kind of necessity are we talking about? Is it like, oh, Fahim, I'm the big scholar. If you don't follow the prophet's practices, I will punish you. How dare you don't do it? Or if you don't follow the practice of the prophet, God will, punish you, send someone to slap you. Like what kind of necessity are we talking about here? Say it again.
I was saying it's a beneficial necessity. Like if you think of Prophet Sallallahu as a guide, and if you don't happen to love the guide, you will take a different path than the guide. So if you love him, you'll follow him till the destination. So it benefits you.
Okay, alhamdulillah. Khalil, go ahead, please.
So I was thinking about Dr. Yusuf's first question, and the ayah starts with, "If you do love God, follow me, God will love you." I would take this not in a sense of like a challenge or in that sense, but I would say it's the perfect way of loving the God or like loving the Creator, and then it says God will love you. So if you love God, then okay, follow this way, and this is the way that you can love God perfectly or the best way. And when you adapt that way, then the Creator would love you, like in that kind of a relationship, I would say.
So if we look at like it, we can take this necessity or rule as Yusuf said, as like from one perspective it is linguistic necessity. If you take ayah suggests that, as the author said, ayah suggests that you need to follow prophet. There is a necessity coming from the way the ayah is structured. Okay, that's one thing. But the question is, why it is so. And I guess it boils down to understanding the love of God, and we will inshallah study that part. Because when we say, for instance, I believe in God, so believe in God by itself, okay, does not necessitate, let's say, the following the practices of the prophet. Okay? So you may, and there are many people, there are many ideologies out there saying that, oh yeah, this universe is definitely, obviously created by someone. I mean, I didn't create it. There must be someone, right? So believing in such way, the ilah, like a divine entity, let's say, it's one thing. Okay, you can believe in Allah, believe in God, let's put it that way, but still, this God could be very distant from your life, right? Once upon a time, He created the universe, He set things up, and then everything works by themselves right now, and we're trying to live our lives. There's no place for God. Just like in the historical narrations and in Quran also, when it says, "Ask them who created this, who fed them, who fed these and that," they will say Allah, right? Quran says. These mushriks of the Mecca, they would believe in a creator, okay, but they wouldn't believe in Rabb, so someone who is shaping the life of the people, someone who is guiding people, someone who is taking care of everything in life, Rabb, right? So they wouldn't believe in such thing. So then the God is very distant in their life. In such case, for instance, when you say follow the practice of the prophet, people would say, why? I mean, I know better ways to live my life. I have another way that would gain me more, let's say, money. I have another way to find the best wife or husband. I have work already providing my salary and so on and so forth. Why do I need to follow the prophet? Or why do I need to follow anyone, actually? My mind is doing pretty good already. Right? And we have today, nowadays, we have AI, which is very helpful, right? And so what is the point? So then maybe we should understand what Quran means when uses the word Allah, right? Rather than just saying a creator. And I guess the key word here, again, the love. So it's not saying that if you believe in a creator, but it says if you love that creator. So we should open that up a little bit. Okay. So necessity becomes apparent only when you understand that the idea here is not just believing in a creator, again, once upon a time created the universe. We're talking about a Rabb that taking care of every moment of our life. And then love start making sense once we study that part. But let's stop here and maybe collect some initial questions, comments.
So we kind of touched upon this verse a few months ago, but just to refresh the memories, can we ask the question, who loves God in the room and why do they love God? What do they mean by that? I'm not going to ask to Kadir, but you can ask to anybody but Kadir.
Well, Kadir would say there's no such thing as love. There's only challenges and difficulties we have to go through. Okay.
I don't know if Abraham loves God, for example. Do you love God?
I know we had discussed this before.
You can also cheat by looking at the text, like the last paragraph is about that.
Look at Mustafa.
Okay.
So I was thinking, but I mean, initially I was thinking like when you're saying loving God, like what does that mean? It's very abstract. Do I love God? My first reaction is it has no place in my day-to-day life. Like I don't ever feel like loving God or loving my creator or loving this or that. If anything, I would say God doesn't love me, or does God love me is more like the question in my mind. Because I'm like, oh, why is this happening? Why is that happening to me? Really, I see the things I love in my life are like, I don't know, my comfort, my job, my work, all these different things, the food, like my wife. I was saying the bad things that I love. Yes. Or else that would have been first. Oh man. So I mean thinking about loving God, so I would say I think there should be a place, as you said, you're saying Rab, someone who takes care of you, your educator, giving you all these bounties, doing everything for you. I mean, I don't know if like I feel love or I can describe it as love, but I definitely feel like my only like the only place I can seek refuge in, the only place I can seek help in is in my creator. Like I must turn back to him. I seek him out. I ask him questions. I try to find the answer and the meaning to things in my life. So I feel this need for guidance from him. So I don't know if the love encompasses all those other feelings. Like I have a very strong need for him, which I guess you might call love, but that's how I would fill it up currently. Yes, I love my mom. Yeah, the love of the mom is so clear and it's so easy and it's very real. Like you live it, very real. So it's hard to contrast it because love of God feels very abstract, unfortunately. Even despite everything I just mentioned, and I do feel those things, but when it comes to like the word love, it gets a bit more abstract.
Short answer is
Oh, there was a hand somewhere. Oh, yeah, there.
Assalamu alaikum. So I just came in, so I don't know exactly what the conversation is about, but it sounds like the question is, do we love Allah? correct me if I'm wrong, but you know, this is something that I've thought about my entire life. So I'm a revert. And I grew up Christian, and I would definitely say that I love Allah. I think that, you know, just looking at the blessings that He has bestowed upon me in my life, and even just coming into Islam, you know, that's such a blessing. So how can I not love Him? You know, He gives me everything. Recently, I've been wondering, though, does He love me? What is the place of love and the concept of Allah? Because as a Christian, we learn that, you know, God loves everyone, you know? So, but when I became Muslim, it wasn't as clear as to, you know, what that means. So that's where I'm at in my journey right now.
Jazakallah khairan. That's a great example of someone who's questioning, trying to understand, rather than just like most of us, right? Like Yusuf, just sitting there and saying that I was born Muslim, who cares? You know, why should I question things? MashaAllah. So I guess, so let's go with a few keywords that you used, the blessings. So only way to understand this, the idea of Rab, the one, like English translation is the sustainer, okay, or Lord. But when we go into that in Quran, we see that the word Rab is used for the one, and in Arabic, the Rab is the master, like a master of the house, for instance. The same word Rab would be used, right? If you own someone as a worker, let's say, the word Rab would be used there as well. So the Rab in the Quranic the context means the one who's taking care of things, right? Taking care of your life, shaping you, educating you, guiding you, and all this stuff, right? So it means the one who is with you all the time, like with every action of yours. Actually, like every experience of yours is shaped by Him for you. Okay, so that's the idea of Rab. And we can come up such an idea only when we see that in our life, when we witness that our life is really shaped, guided. Things are given to us. As you see blessings, you can only become a worshiper, a abd, right? If you don't see any blessing in your life, we mentioned this several times before, but if you don't see any blessing in your life, there is no way that you can be thankful for anything. There is no way that you can believe in someone who is giving you blessings if you don't see these blessings. No matter how many times in a book or in a sacred book or by your father, by your mother, it is repeated. No matter. Go ahead, please.
What if there are blessings, but like it's blessings of nature? Like it's a very beautiful apricots, but because my hometown's like we are the producers of best apricot on earth, it's because of our climate. It's a blessing of climate.
Then your Rab is your climate. Then your Rab is your nature. So it is that we have to be very honest here. Okay? If you think there's no blessing in my life, nothing is given to me, everything happens by itself, right? There is no way that you can believe in a God that creates things in your life because everything happens by itself. Or you see all these blessings, you are very thankful, but you think it's coming from your mom. Like your wife cooks the food and serves you, and she is taking care of you. If this is what you believe, then your Rab is your wife. If you think the apricot is coming from the tree, which is fed by the soil of, this sacred city, Malaya, his hometown, then this is your Rab. Whatever blessings you see, that's the Rab, that's the sustainer you can believe in. Okay? So let's be clear there. So then, as you see these blessings, as Sister mentioned, like when you are pleased with them, you have this feeling of being thankful, right? That's also granted. That also brings another question, like, then what if I'm not happy with what is given to me? There's no way that you can be thankful to the Creator. Again, don't trick yourself. Don't fool yourself. Oh, I'm a believer. I love, the Creator, but I hate everything that He creates. There's no way, right? So loving God then is about seeing all the blessings in your life. It's not an abstract at all. Look at the life that you have, your work, your wife, your husband, your children, your mom, your dad, whatever, your friends, or the wound that you have on your finger, the hair that becomes white and less in number. Everything you have in your life. If you are enjoying them, okay, to the extent you enjoy them, you become thankful. You have this appreciation of them. You see an artwork and you appreciate this artwork. To the extent you appreciate the artwork, you respect the artist. To the extent you love the artwork, you love the artists. So when you think it that way, start from the blessings, start from the things in your life, what kind of relationship you have with them, the idea of love of God will become so practical, not abstract. You would say, I love the one. So the Allah is a placeholder, like it's a special word, proper name, right? By itself, it doesn't have a meaning. It's like a placeholder. When you see Allah in Quran, you should fill it up. What kind of qualities that it's talking about? In this case, for instance, Quran is saying that if you love the one who gives you everything in your life, if you love the one that gives you everything in your life that you love, you should read it that way. So to the extent you love things in your life, to the extent you feel appreciated, you appreciate the guidance that you receive in your life, the paths opening up in front of you, to the extent you love them, you love the one who gives them. And Ayah says, if this is the case, here is what you should be doing. Let's stop here first. Let's see if this is clear for everyone or if there are any objections and so on. Go.
So just to highlight a verse which exactly points to what you just mentioned. So in Surah Baqarah, verse number 164, 165 is exactly depicting what you just mentioned. It first, in 164, talks about the creation, talks about how creation of the heavens and the earth, alternation of the night and the day, sailing of ships through the ocean for the profit of mankind, rain which Allah sends down from the skies, life which He gives therewith to an earth that is dead, in the beasts of all kinds that He scatters through the earth, in the change of the winds, and the clouds which they trail like their slaves between the sky and the earth, indeed are signs for a people that are wise. This is the verse. And the right next verse says, yet there are men who take others besides God as equal. They love them as they should love God. Like, this is the key. Like, what is this referring to then? You love, let's say, sunrise, sunset. You love how ships are sailing in the sea. But is it the thing itself worthy of love? Like, the quality that you love, does it belong to the sun itself? Does it belong to the ship itself? Or is it like the natural laws that are governing them? Because we love things for a reason. But what is the reason for that? Is it the thing itself? And the following part of the verse says, but the believers are overflowing in their love of God. So the reason for love is the very same thing, but the address is misguided. Like, still, I am loving like the baby, but do I love the baby for baby? Or do I say that, oh, this baby is being beautifully created? In and of itself, it doesn't have any beauty. It is being made beautiful. This is why I love the one who beautifies it. This is why for the believer, really, loving baby means loving God. But if I see baby as a marvel of nature, then I would love baby. Not because there's no maker of baby in this case.
Jazakallah. Go ahead, please. Who has the microphone yet?
So I had a question. So the verse says, if you do love God, follow me, God will love you. And we're saying, look around you, look at all your blessings, look at how you're being taken care of, look at how everything is being given to you. All the qualities you witness are being created for you. Like the ability that a ship can go over water and take you places. I don't know. All these things are given. So you feel this need to love the one who's giving them to you. Because it seems like all this is like, I mean, in some sense, someone is showing their love to you already. Like, that's why all these things are being created for you. Like, that's why you exist. That's why you're going through life. And it seems that things are intentionally happening, and with wisdom, they're happening, and you're being guided on a path. So you feel this love, which is why you start reciprocating and thinking and being grateful and showing your own love and appreciation. So I'm wondering where the Prophet comes into this, because it seems I already feel like I am being loved or given blessings. So I want to also love this God. But now I'm being told, follow me, God will love you. Or follow the Prophet and God will love you. But I already came to the conclusion that God was loving me. So how does the dimension, well, what's the added dimension here? What's changing that I need to now follow the Prophet to witness this new love of God, or earn this new love of God? Just a question.
Jazakallah. We will inshallah come to that if everybody clear with the love of God part first. Like when we say, I love God or I don't like God, stuff like that. But God is this, God is that, whatever. So is everything clear there? So it is a relationship, okay? So always the iman, when it comes to iman, it's a relationship, right? It's not just something that we memorize, that we, let's say, have one directionally. It's a relationship. It's your relationship with the God. To the extent you have a relationship, you can talk about iman. Anyway, so the artwork is there, the creation, and your relationship with this artwork will shape everything else. Okay? That I assume that's clear for everyone. So, okay, then the Prophet, according to the text and according to the ayah, Prophet comes to the picture when when we start, questioning that who's giving all these things to me, and I have this appreciation, I have thank, right? In Quranic words, the hamd is there, like I want to address it to somewhere, right? And I want to address it in a very proper way. It's like, you have a relationship with your, let's say, your wife. She does every great things in your life, and you see all these great things, and you really appreciate them. You are so thankful for them, right? What you would do? You would respond. I mean, if you are a proper human being, you will not, act like a stranger, for instance, right? You will respond properly. You will respond kindly. But most important, you will try to become someone with whom wife is pleased with. That's what you would try. You would change your the habits, for instance. If you are really appreciating all these things, right? If you are so thankful, and if you want to please her or him, right? Take it, depending on your situation. It could be your mom as well, or your father. You have this feeling of pleasing her, and what you would do, you would become someone who is like whom she is pleased with. That's the thing you would do as a proper human being. If you value this relationship, if you value everything that she brings to your life. So I guess that's the key. Being someone, shaping yourself in a way that she, in our example, will be pleased with. So when you have this thing and say that, okay, I'm so thankful to the one who gave all these things to me in a so beautifully adorned way, what am I going to do to please him? So that's the question. That's the starting point. Any comments, questions so far? No.
So, like we talked about loving God, but do I want to be loved by God? I mean, you mentioned I should, but does Abdurrahman want to be loved by God? Or, I mean, anyone? What's your name, sister? Ambria. So Ambria said she is actually concerned about whether God loves me or not. But do people share this concern? Or why am I concerned with such a thing? Like this brother, what's your name, brother? Darian just came today, and I'm not concerned if he loves me or not. We just get to know each other today. I mean, I hope you love me, or at least don't hate me because of making this comment. But like, do we have such concerns, or why would I have such a concern? And again, as a help, we can ask the same question for.
And for the sake of time, let's answer the question.
Are you concerned about your mom loving you, or are you concerned about your wife loving you? So what's going on here?
Fahim, no, Natalia then.
I was pointing out.
I think there's the obvious aspect of he's in control of everything. And I think that like that was clear, but even with your mother, right? Like your mother, like when you are looking to be on your mother's good side, then that will determine if you go get ice cream on Sunday or not. So I think that maybe that's very shallow, but like to me, like the obvious point is that like Allah controls everything, and like he's already so merciful to me, and he's already so merciful to everyone, whether they're like pleasing him or not. but I hope that like if I please him, then I can like obviously get the rewards that he promised, but in general just get more blessings.
President Trump will give you a green card. Would you love him? He controls a lot of things.
Let's go with the
President Trump? No.
yeah, President. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So, are we in expectation of love? So I think this is the question. Yes, I mean, in terms of receiving benefits, yeah, it is part of it, but just even like a stranger, because sometimes when you are going outside, where you are passing by glass of a shop, you turn back and look at yourself in the shop. Just, do I look good? Am I lovable by third-party strangers? Like, you don't going to take anything from them actually, but you just like the idea of being loved somehow, isn't it? Like somebody says, "Oh, this person looks good," or "This person makes a very good comment. This person is very smart." Like receiving such a compliment, being lovable somehow, we like it. I don't know why, but we do like it. So we love being loved. But Qadir, when he loves me, he expects things in return. Like his love is not cheap. Like
Just like Natalia, she also wants ice cream.
Yeah, she asked for ice cream. So like, this is where things are getting thorny. There's love, and I do expect love in return, but the ones that I'm expecting their love from is not selling their love for cheap. They demand many things. My mom, she put very large demands actually. One so large that I didn't take, and she protested me for quite a number of years. Like, apparently she was saying that, okay, if you want me to love you, then do this. Like, this was a very big price. So I am in need of being loved. Yet, those that I expect them to love me, although the price that they ask is too large, number one problem. Number two problem, they are dying as well. Because my need for love is so big, but the sources that I'm looking for that can satisfy my desire to be loved is either they die or somehow their love diminishes and whatnot. So it's a very problematic way of acquiring or satisfying this need.
Die in this context, like a changing, let's say, like they are being transient. One day they love, one day they don't. One day they are angry, one day they are happy.
Wait, like long distance relationship, and then you feel like the love is diminishing because of the distance. Even you separated it in the best of the terms, yet the distance makes the love diminish. Like many problems are happening as such. So in this case, love is a fundamental need of human being, yet who is going to satisfy this? So I am interested in somebody to love me, but who is going to be this somebody?
So I look back to the part, wait, where is it? What's it? Okay, sorry. If you do love God, follow me, God will love you. So I think that, you know, in a way, it almost looks like Allah loves disbelievers in the way of like what they're given. So, you know, a Muslim may be struggling with finding a spouse or having children or whatever the problem is, but out in the world, we see tons of disbelievers who seem to be quote unquote living at large. So this idea of Allah will then love you if you love him is interesting. But I think that the second part of, you know, okay, Allah loves me, so I should, and we're interpreting that to mean like, he has blessed me in this life so much, so I should show my gratitude and follow in the ways to worship him more. I think that there is, kind of to your question of like, why should we then love in return? I think that there is a lot of benefits in that. I think that, number one, we're taught that, what happens in the hereafter, the different levels of Jannah, but then also too, in the trials and tribulations that we experience within our own lives, there is a sweetness that we get when we do worship Allah in times of trials that, my own personal experience, I've never felt that ever before I became Muslim. There is a peace there that I didn't have before. And so I think that there's this very real physical, well, maybe not physical, but there's a very real way, tangible, thank you, way that you can experience this relationship with loving God and receiving that love in this life. And then the other part of that is where the faith comes in, the faith that we will be rewarded for that in the hereafter. So those are my thoughts on that.
So when you were talking about like the fundamental need of love for the creator, like there is a need in me, I was thinking about like, why do I feel this need, or like, why do I want to be loved? And then I don't know if everybody relates with this, but in my experience, it's like, I want to be taken care of, or like I want someone to take care of me. Like if I love my mother, it's like she's taking care of me. Same can go for the partner as well. But then when you intuitively think like, who can take the best care of me, like who can provide the best for me, then I can come to the conclusion, okay, there is only one single entity, or like the creator, that can take care of me. And in that way I can say like loving Allah and everything.
And when we say take care of, generally it's being understood as being fed, but let's generalize it, because it's not only taking care of the needs of my stomach. Because like imagine how in, let's say, some parts of the world, I don't know, in America, but let's say the orphanages, people do feed orphans in those orphanages, but do they give the love that the kids desire? For instance, like their bodies are being fed, they get the food, but let's say they just put the food before them. So human is such a complex creature. So I am being provided with, I mean, we said everything, but we should see what is everything really. We talk about the air that right now I am breathing. We talk about the light. Like I sometimes give this example. When you are in the, like taking a shower, if water gets into your ear, you get so much disturbed, like not being able to hear properly. Then you appreciate, oh, hearing was such a blessing. I was being given proper hearing. So all these things are my desires, my needs, and then being provided to me, not like somebody putting like throwing the food before me and say, okay, just eat. But lovingly giving the food makes a huge difference. So human is so complex in this sense. So being satisfied or being provided is a part of it. But I guess beyond anything, still being loved is something that we want. And interestingly, and I think this is where maybe the prophet can come into the picture. Like prophet is mentioned as beloved of God. Like what does it mean to say that prophet is beloved of God? Why did creator said to a human being as my beloved? I mean, it shouldn't be the type of love that we know of, like the romantic love. Like, so for example, for my students, would I use the word, I love this student? I would be afraid to use this word because people would take it in different ways, right? Oh, Kadir had been my student in my class and I said, oh, I love Kadir. I would be cautious to use the word. But the creator is using the word for prophet. So what does this mean? What does it mean, God loving a creature? And now, if you put it to the bridge, because it looks like this is where the bridge is being put, following the prophet is going to be how I am going to be loved. But why would God love prophets? This is an important question then.
So we start with all our needs then, and we realize that all these needs are sustained. So we have a relationship with the sustainer now. So we also have this need to be loved, to be respected, to be valued. Okay? How am I going to fulfill these needs, and how it is being fulfilled? When we try other creatures around us to fulfill this need, we realize that it doesn't work unless we, get drunken and fool ourselves. For a moment, we would say that, oh, no, my kids are loving me. That's enough, up until they find their friends. And you don't want to spend much time with you anymore. Or friends go, leave, and they start loving you again, up until they have their own smartphones. Right? So that's the life. Even with mom, which is usually given as the purest of the love in the worldly life, right? As Brother Yusuf said, which is true for all of us, it is that even that is not the pure as we thought so, right? And you realize that when you become mom, when you become father, that you expect things in return from your children. How dare they don't respect me? I said, do this, and she said, no. How dare, right? That's the love, the purest love on the earth. So we see that it doesn't satisfy our needs. As Quran says, the heart of a believer only satisfied by love of God. You can take it in both ways. So then, as the Brother Yusuf also mentioned, the text says, I'm just going quick for the sake of time, we don't have much. The text says, when you realize that the source of love that can satisfy the unending need for love should be the unending source of love, the sustainer of everything else in your life. Okay? And so then you said, okay, I should be in a state again that would please my creator, that would please my sustainer. And you try to find the ways to achieve this. And when then you realize that, oh, he's been guiding us on every the dimensions, on every manner, in every manner. So he must be guiding us with that as well. He should then show me an example who, as Yusuf said, who's been loved by the God, prophet. He should send me an example, show me an example of a human being that is being most loved by the Creator.
So, so I think in terms of our love, as we know about love, Sister Adrian, Ambrian, the concern in there tells us something about love. Like, I am concerned whether I am lovable by the Creator. Why do I think that maybe God doesn't love me? Because it looks like he's feeding me anyways. So it looks like he's loving me. Yet I still have the concern. This is because of the nature of love itself. As I am being taught, I might be lovable or not lovable. Like, Nibras might be loving me, might not be loving me. And if he doesn't love me, there would be a reason for that. Maybe I wouldn't be as nice, I wouldn't be as polite or something. This is why I am concerned about the same thing when it comes to my Creator as well. Like, am I lovable for my Creator?
which if you flip it, then it means there must be a way to be lovable by my creator too. So then I would look, how can I be lovable of my creator? And this is where now the author makes a very interesting analysis. He says, look at the universe. The universe is being made in a way that the artist who creates, apparently he wants to be known. He wants to be loved. Like he's manifesting his artwork. Why? He wants to be known. He wants to be appreciated. Which means if you are aligned with this, then you are starting to become lovable. Like the example is, you go to a class and the teacher is just laid down many assignments, lectures, slides, everything is just very well programmed. Would you have any doubt if somebody says that, oh, this student who is sitting at the very front and who is very receptive to what teacher says, who prepares to the class before coming to the class, he is very vigilant during the class, keeps taking notes and everything, asks questions and everything. Oh, he's the favorite student of the professor. Like, would you be surprised by this? Not at all. It's like the guy was showing so much enthusiasm in the class by teaching. So you know that if somebody appreciates his teaching by showing eagerness, like studying and everything, yeah, this student definitely is going to be the favorite of the teacher. The teacher will love this kid who is appreciating the creator the most in this universe. Would be rightfully beloved. I do see that Kadir is, to some extent, he seems to be appreciating his creator, not so much. Abdurrahman, 5% more. Ibras, mashallah, like 50% more. Like I do see these differences among people when it comes to how much they appreciate their creator. So I do say then, maybe if I keep going through the line of people, I will find someone who Abu Bakr is getting to 99%. Like there must be someone among mankind who achieved the topmost appreciation, who is going to be the favorite student of the creator. Beloved, rightfully beloved of the creator. And then the creator will go and say, would you be a TA for my class next term? Like, since he did the job so well, now you're going to be an example for the comers so that they can take you as an example, saying that, okay, do like him if you want to be lovable.
That was very clear, mashallah. I think it makes a lot of sense how to be beloved, how we can become beloved by following the actual beloved. But I don't know if I missed it before. Just as a takeaway, why would we want Allah to love us? Like, can we expand on that now that I know this time's coming to a close? Like, why would we want Allah to love us? Like, why would we want to be beloved?
Just a small, is this not what you were mentioning earlier, like the need to be loved and then all of the other things that are present in our life? Maybe that is the why reason we want to be loved, I would say.
Yeah, I also take it that way. So again, when we say we want to be loved by God, so the start from your experiences always, okay? So we cannot talk about God, Allah, Rab, whatever, without starting from our experiences in life, without starting from the creation. Otherwise, I'm just being blunt, sorry for that. Otherwise, the word God wouldn't mean anything at all. I want God to love me. What do you mean? I have no idea. right? So start from the creation, start from your experiences. You want to be loved. That's what you are. You have this need. Yes, just like that. Like you need breathing. You need to be loved. You need to be respected, valued. This is what you are. With the breathing, you say, okay, I will use oxygen. You use it, you think it satisfies you to some extent. The moment you start, being able to breathe, although the oxygen is there, you say, oh, it was not oxygen that's satisfying me, sustaining me, right? The same way you try to fulfill these needs of love through other things. You say, okay, this gentleman should love me. My mom is loving me. That's enough for me. Up until the moment your mom shouts at you. So the need is already there. The question is, what is going to fulfill this need? That's the question. And when we say we need God to love us, you mean basically that nothing in this creation is satisfying this need I have. I'm trying everything and nothing is working. It doesn't feel my heart, we say. The love I need should be unending, with nothing in return, right? It should be the pure heart, the love. And so that's what you mean when you say, I need God to love me, meaning something other than this universe, not in type of this universe, should fulfill this need. That's what we mean. And then, God means something now. Love of God means something now. Let's conclude with Yusuf's final comments. Who has the microphone? Oh, yeah. Okay.
Up to you.
Okay.
So the answer is then there's no why. This is how it is. Like, why do you need oxygen? This is how we are made. You need oxygen. Love is just one of the innumerable many needs that you have. You are in need of being loved. You are in need of being respected. You are in need of a car. You are in need of like a house, a shelter. You are in need of being loved as well. So human is infinitely needy, as we mentioned in these discussions. So love is such a fundamental need of human being. But the problem is we are trying to fulfill this need by just getting more thumbs up from people. And that's why we get addicted to it. And then we get manipulated. So all these problems, and that's why we are trying to, we don't follow the prophet, but we try to follow whatever takes more thumbs up. Like, is it or eating in such and such restaurants? So then I should eat and then share those photos and whatnot. So this becomes what I follow.
Yeah, like just to close, I wanted to make the distinction that I wanted to have a clear answer as to why we needed love from God as opposed to other people. But I do see now that it's never gonna fill you. And even if, for example, your mom's love does fill you for a little bit, it's not eternal. Like once you either you pass away or she passes away, you're gonna still long for that love because it's something natural. So I think what you're saying, everything here is finite, but the love of God, seeking the love of God is seeking infinite love. And I think that's what's ultimately gonna fill that need that we have in our hearts.
And when you realize that everything is passing away in your life, you even have this tendency to leave everything behind so that they will not be cause of a sorrow for me when they die. Right? So that's the reality. Okay, any other comments, questions? Go ahead, please.
I just feel the need, at least because my mind always goes there. Like, the story of Job, and it's like very misused in the sense that, oh, he loved God, or God loved Job the most because he was patient in suffering the most. Like he didn't ask, like he was patient, he suffered, and he was seeking God's love by suffering. Somehow that makes sense. But uh the way we're talking about love here, it's not like that. Like, okay, I want God's love, so as Brother Yusuf was saying in the beginning, like God sends me on a quest to kill a dragon and do this and this and this, and finally it's like, okay, you're worthy of love. But the way I attain this love, which is why it makes sense that it says follow the prophet, do the things that already are good for you, that already you need as a human, like the prophet, the way he lived and the way I'm being asked to live. It's the way that actually fulfills me. It's the way that saves me from sorrows and like from despair. Like things are dying, everything is dying around me. I'm in despair. But if I follow the way of the prophet, if I follow these things, then I see that it gives me peace. And on top of giving me peace, I find that God is loving me more, or I can be conscious that God is loving me more. So it's not like the things I'm being asked to do are not like orthogonal or like perpendicular to like what God is for how God will love me. Like basically they're aligned with each other, and they should be aligned with each other, because otherwise it seems to contradict me anyways.
Okay, yeah, go ahead, please.
And in this sense, actually, this text is telling us or describing, this is also a description of prophethood. Why was Muhammad والسلام, was the prophet? Why did he receive the revelation first and foremost and not me? And generally, this question is like a taboo to ask, in the sense that Abu Jahl asked this question in a challenging way. But I can ask the same question about what was good about this person that revelation was given to him in the first place. Revelation is given to this person in the first place because he was the most recipient student in the classroom. Like he was the most lovable one. The character that he demonstrated was the most beautiful one. So and this is like experimented and it works out. So if I want to be loved as well, then be like him, then you will realize that you are becoming love-worthy or lovable. And interestingly, as we will see, Prophet is lovable not because he can fly and he can just dive into water and stays there for 60 minutes, or like no extra skill. How is Quran describing Prophet? What was he good at? He was good at being a slave. Like being an abd this is at the very core of Prophet's life. Whatever he does, like if we are studying, let's say, practices of Prophet ﷺ, we should take two things into account at the very core. This person is doing this from the lens of La ilaha illallah. The second is this person is doing this with the consciousness of being a slave. Like, for example, if you are thinking about a perfect warrior, Prophet was a very fierce warrior as well. But when we say a perfect, fierce warrior, what do we mean? Very tough guy, very strong guy, right? When we talk about this for the Prophet, do we mean tough guy, strong guy, or being this strong person yet realizing that this is not from me? Because generally, when somebody is strong, they take the credit to themselves. When I look at any practices of the Prophet, I should look for what does it mean to be an abd in this case. Because at best, what does following the Prophet means? Becoming an abd. This is becoming a slave is what it means. So this is the second thing that we need to keep in perspective.
Okay, let's conclude here, inshallah. So take-home messages as usual. The one take-home message, the love of God. We should understand love of God through his creation, our love towards the creation, our appreciation towards the creation, the artwork that he produces in front of us all the time, including ourselves. Our relationship with this artwork, the creation, shapes what we mean by love of God. Or in the same way, our need to be loved shapes what we mean by the love of God. So love of God could become something not abstract, intangible, whatever. Oh, it's a mystical thing. No, no, no. It is your relationship with his artwork. Okay? Your appreciation of his artwork. That's one take-home message. The other take-home message goes to our main study of prophethood. So this text adds one more dimension to what we mean by the prophet. Okay? One more dimension to what we mean by the prophet, which is prophet is the perfect example, is the role model of what? Of whom is being loved by God. He is the path, he is the way to be loved by God. He is the example. Okay? So it adds one more dimension to our understanding of the prophethood. سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم وآخر دعوانا أن الحمد لله رب العالمين الفاتحة